Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the CRKT Compact Redemption, designed by Ken Onion and manufactured here in the USA by Hogue. That's pretty cool. It's the smaller version of the, the bigger brother, the one that came out a while back. They made a compact version. It's actually still a pretty big knife. This is apparently based on Ken Onion's Dead Man's Hand custom. I didn't even know that that knife existed, but that is what this is based on. So this is legitimately just a smaller version. Some people will find this to be far superior, and I think other people will find it the exact opposite, and I'll explain why here in just a bit. Thanks so much to CRKT for providing this knife for review. This is available. In fact, I think you might even still be able to get the big one. I'll put the links down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's go ahead and measure this knife. Like I said, it is definitely more compact than the big one, but it's not small at 7.5 inches, about a medium-sized knife. 3¼ inches for the blade length and about 2.85 for the cutting edge. How about some size comparisons? Well, first off, we have to put it up against the larger one here. I think many of you will notice that it seems to sort of squeeze in and then kind of, come out, almost like a little recurve on the larger one. Is that present on the smaller one? If it is very subtle. This is it seems to be a straighter blade. This one kind of does have that, that curvature there. Also, if you're wondering, is it sharp on both sides? No, it is not. That is just a huge swedge, and it's just meant to complete that symmetrical look, but neither of these are sharp on both sides. But anyways, the bigger guy, which we probably should also measure for anybody wondering, is about a little over 9 inches long with a 4-inch blade. So yeah, this is substantially larger. Let's go ahead and put it up against some more common knives. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. So up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur. It's not as big as these knives, but again, it's still not like a small knife. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3, much more comparable to the size of the Para 3. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. Very, very similar to the Deca. How's the action of this knife? Well, it's kind of weird because it's a crossbar lock, or it's a Hogue Able lock running on bearings, and the pivot action is fine, right? I mean, like it operates just like any other Hogue I've ever handled. There's no thumb stud and there's no flipper. I think that's the idea. Does this qualify as a gravity knife? I would say almost certainly yes, in any area where it's not legal to own it or especially carry it. Yeah, I think this is gonna get classified as a gravity knife, right? I mean, like when I think of a gravity knife, this isn't what I think of. It's just that the only way to open it is with, at least like inertia, or I don't know, like momentum. I don't know what we would call that. But I think it's pretty easy to classify this as a gravity knife. So if you're concerned about that, I think you should just not, make sure that your local laws allow you to own gravity knives and actually EDC them if you want to carry them, because that's something that you should be concerned with. So is the action good? The action is fine. It's just awkward. So here's why I think some people are going to prefer the little one, some people prefer the big one. This knife, while I don't want to say that I'm confident, but I'm a lot more confident with the bigger one than I am the smaller one. I'm really worried about how close the tip gets to my palm down here, and I also, for some reason, don't feel quite as secure on this guy. That could be in my head. This one, I feel like, I've got the grip down. I think that simply has to do with your hand size. There is no optimal, it's not like better or worse. Certain people I feel like if you have slightly smaller hands than me, I'll wear an XL glove, you might actually like this one better and not want this one. I mean, I think at a certain point, the size there can work against you. If you have larger hands, then definitely not, right? But the way that this has to be held, and here's the reason why I say I'm worried about it. If my palm is like that, like where I'm bracing, it can get close enough where that can dry. And I know many of you crossbar locks, you guys have caught yourself on the palm. It's not just this, it's crossbar locking knives in general, just because of how we like to hold them when we disengage. Sometimes we just have that palm meat hanging over a little too far and the tip just goes whoosh, just real quick. So yeah, that hasn't happened to me the entire time that I've been carrying this and, you know, manipulating it and fidgeting with it, right? It is kind of fun to manipulate because I don't normally, like with a knife that has a thumb stud and a crossbar lock, I'm always using the thumb stud. I never use the crossbar lock to engage it like that. But this is the only way to do this. So yeah, it's kind of awkward. It makes me want a version of this. I think I said it in this review. I just want a version of this that does have a little thumb stud that's like cut out right here in the frame. But that would kind of kill the whole purpose of the design. I mean, it's supposed to be like this. So there you go. Carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3 and the PM2. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's pretty similar. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This is a beautifully simple object to carry. It is ridiculously compact and easy, and I have no complaints there. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Actually, while I can see my calipers, let's measure the blade stock thickness, because these get lost. So the blade stock thickness on this guy coming in at 120 thousandths, about what I thought. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools. My tools are very inexpensive, very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. Your scale screws and the filler tab screw is a T6. These are T8. And then you're probably going to have a couple of additional screws in here. But then also there's no way that's a T10. It is. This is a T10. Okay, so you have T10 pivot. Nice. It's crossbar lock. Far from impossible to take apart, but pretty frustrating. If you've never done it before, you're in for a little bit of a frustrating experience. Tape off the blade before you do it. You're welcome. Just, you thank me in advance. Definitely tape off the blade. But far from impossible. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. What do we have for materials? We have aluminum up here for the actual bolster, really nicely machined aluminum. There is subtle contouring. Same here with the G10. I believe this is G10. Sometimes when it's really smooth, it confuses me and it looks like micarta. Yeah, it is G10. Sorry, I was looking at the box there. G10. But really nice. And then you have this little inlay here, which is cool. Same thing on both sides. We have a little steel pocket clip. And then I believe this is, and we have to look at it in the camera, see if it's got fibers in it. I think it's aluminum as well. Then we have a MagnaCut blade. What's the HRC? Well, Hogue is known for doing their MagnaCut correctly. 63 to 64 HRC. I think it might be 62 to 64, but it's up there where it should be. That's the way that it should be, and I'm really glad that Hogue does that, so that's awesome. And hats off to CRKT for partnering with Hogue on the premium stuff. CRKT, I don't know if you guys are going to watch this, but you guys got to do that more often. Hogue makes good stuff, and they typically price things super fair. Much more fair than, their obvious competitor, who they are 100% capable of making the exact same quality knives, making them exactly the same way, and charging like 30 to 40% less in many cases. I think that you should continue to partner with Hogue for sure. Anyways, let's go ahead and weigh it. So the weight on this, and we do have some internal steel nested liners as well. So I'm going to guess like 3.5, maybe high threes. Yeah, 4.1 ounces is what we're looking at there. So not perfect ratios, but that's okay because it's not really all that heavy. And even though the balance isn't right behind the pivot, honestly, the thing just feels good in hand. I don't really have a problem with that. All right, meat and potatoes time. How ergonomic is it? It's great. It's like holding on. There's no real major curvature for your hand. There's a little bit like right here, but it does feel good. How does it slice? Well, it's pretty thick behind the edge because of the grind, but Hogue does a good job with the factory edge, so plenty capable of slicing. It's not going to be optimized for this. Obviously, puncturing, it's going to be able to do that. It'll do it. You don't carry a knife like this because it's like an optimized tool, for everyday carry. You carry it because it's neat. That's the reason, right? It is plenty capable, plenty functional, plenty durable as a knife being used for knife tasks. It'll do just fine. Can't speak on the self-defense aspect of it because I don't know anything about self-defense. I'm going to guess that it probably will do that pretty well. Don't know. But it'll do it and it's plenty capable. But it's not going to be nearly as optimized as some of the simple like flat ground or hollow ground, just, little typical EDC knives, right? But it'll work. It'll work just fine. Your fit and finish on this is really, really good. I aesthetically don't love how grinds just end right here. But as far as grinds like this go, how it just ends, they did a pretty good job. I mean, it's not going to look great over time. Like, that's not going to, like, as you continue to sharpen it, if you care, right? That area is going to start to look poo-poo town for sure. I really like, and I want to use this knife as an example. We have the unsharpened side on this side, and we have the sharpened side here. So as this edge approaches the tip, this area is always a bit awkward on designs like this. And most companies move the center line over, and it doesn't perfectly meet up with the tip. It's to accommodate for the cutting bevel. Hogue did this correctly. I mean, at least aesthetically. So that's cool. I like that. Those are little tiny details that people really care about, right? You might not think the same as me. Maybe you don't care, but I mean, that's neat that they did that. It makes me irritated with like the million other companies or the million other knives where they tried to do something similar and they just moved the center line over or they goofed up the freaking, the edge, like where it just looks stupid. Like, I don't know why, but CRKT or Hogue did a great job with this. They have a nice tumbled finish on this one. There is also a black one. It's all black, looks pretty cool, very tactical. It says CRKT on one side, and then it says Onion Design on the other. I don't know why it doesn't say MagnaCut anywhere. Maybe it's like hidden. No, it's definitely MagnaCut. But yeah. As far as your cutting tasks, like when you put your thumb down here or on here, it's on the swedge, so it's real thin, not super comfortable. There's a little bit of jimping right here. This design, because of the intentional aesthetics, really straight and symmetrical, there is nothing to warn you or guard you from running your finger up on the edge. This is something that you definitely want to pay attention to. I mean, it would be very easy to be using this knife and slip and run your finger up on that edge. If you're not worried about that, then you're good to go. I think this is a nice little touch. It looks good on both of them. I just really appreciate that. Love this pocket clip. It's got a lot of, like, the tension on it is, like, really high, but in and out of the pocket, it's pinchy, but it works perfectly. And carry depth is nice, too. Backspace are fine, just real simple. Crossbar locks, they're all over the place. They are super duper common. The crossbar lock itself is a strong locking system. What weakens it is omega springs, and they're sort of unpredictable. They could go for years and years and years, or they could break the first day, right? Fortunately, they're pretty easy to replace. Companies are very willing to send you additional omega springs. I'm sure that CRKT/Hogue will take care of you on that. But I'm at the point where I'm just like, there's so many locking systems that are like the equivalent strength that don't, or better, that don't utilize omega springs. I just think coil springs in general are better. I kind of wish that we would just see an industry-wide evolution for stuff like this. But this has, it's just got the regular coil, or the omega spring crossbar lock. So, okay. Right. Let's see here. As far as blade play goes, no blade play up, down, left, or right. Slight stick off the crossbar, but that's pretty normal. No pivot lash. Consistent in here. These are not high tension omega springs. They're kind of medium tension. That's fine. Centering, I believe this is, it's a little bit, it looks like it's a little bit to the right on this guy. I can't tell if it's my imagination. No, it is a little bit to the right. So I haven't really adjusted this at all the entire time I've had it. I'd be really surprised if the centering or I'm sorry, if the centering had moved at all, or the pivot had backed out at all, but we're going to check it just in case that's a T9. Okay. Well, no, we just checked it. It's a T10, so we got to use a T10. It just, the pivot already feels like fairly high. Yeah, that hasn't moved at all. So this is maybe, yeah, it is actually slightly off center to the right. That's not typical of Hogue. Like this one here is perfectly centered. Most of the Hogues that I've reviewed have been centered, but you know, occasionally you're going to get one. I like to see them centered from the factory. Goof ups happen. You can adjust them, right? If Hogue was a repeat offender in this territory, I might point it out, but this is probably just a goof up. And again, it's kind of like CRKT sent this one directly. You know, if you're going to send out samples to a reviewer, you should probably send them the centered blades. But anyways. Final price tag on this guy, $225. Is the price fair? Yeah, I think so. I don't really have an issue with that. I mean, it's like I used to always say, like everything could be $20 cheaper. And then if it was $20 cheaper, I'd be like, well, it'd be cool if it was $20 cheaper, right? Made in the USA. It's got some cool aluminum. It's got some cool bolsters. I mean, it's a little bit less expensive, I think, than this guy. The Magna Cut is heat treated properly. Yeah, like if Benchmade made this knife, they would charge you $400 for it. Like, let's just be honest. So yeah, I'm not super upset about that. Is it a recommendable knife? Not really. I mean, you don't buy this because you want an optimized tool. It's like I said, you buy it because you think that it's cool, and it'll work fine, right? But is it something that I think people should rush out and buy? Not really. If you're looking for like just like a good optimized cutting tool at the same price point, like Hogue has a million other knives that you could look at. CRKT's got some great stuff too, and honestly, there's like a million other companies that are making more like utilitarian designs. But if you do like, especially symmetry, you're a big fan of the original custom, the Dead Man's Hand that this is based on, right? Or, you just want something cool. You just want to make sure that it's made well and made properly. Well, then, yeah, absolutely. But for the average person, no, I don't think it's not. Obviously not. Still cool, though. I'm glad that CRKT, Hogue, and Ken Onion came together to create this. Links in the description. That's going to be it for today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.